Can you give me also host?
Yes.
So that
すいません、今出れなくて、岡崎です。はい。いいですか。はい。時間を金曜日教えてください。12時半池田さんで、井上さんは。
So, okay, let us start our class. So, in the last class, we had discussed about the personality of the Buddha. So, today we are going to discuss about the, if you go through the reading material, then you will find that we are going to discuss the next point, which is related with the 6 attributes of the Buddha. There are 6 attributes of the Buddha through which Buddha is known as you can say, and in the last class we had also discussed about that how Buddha is called as Bhagava Araha Samba Sambuddho Vijacharan Sampanno Suguto Lok Vidu Prisuddhamma Sarati. And these are the attributes through which our Buddha was a great personality also. So in the last class, we had also discussed about that how Buddha is also having 32 types of characteristics, 32 Mahapurusha Lakshana. And in the last class, we had also discussed about that how 82 types of Anubhyanjanas, which are also characteristics feature of our personality of the Buddha. And in the Pali Suttas, how we have discussed that what are the merits of the teachings of the Buddha through which the Buddha became more popular among the common masses of the people. So today we are going to discuss that how Dhamma of the Buddha, that is the Buddha Dhamma, became more popular among the teachings of the Buddha. And literal meaning we have already discussed about the Dhamma, that how Dhamma has been defined in different contexts in the teachings of the Buddha. And we have seen that when we say that Buddho Dhammam Deseti, Buddha preaches the Dhamma. Here Dhamma is in the sense of teachings of the Buddha, that is the Pariyatti. When we say that Manopuvangma Dhamma Manosettha Manomaya Manasa Chapaduttena Bhasati va Karoti va Tato Nam Dukkham Manuveti Chaya va Nam Payani. Manopuvangma Dhamma, here Dhamma is in the sense of moral and immoral actions. Again, if you go through the, you can say, Nahi bereni berani samatita kudachanam aberecha samanti es dhammo sanantaro. So when we say that the es dhammo sanantano, here sanantano is in the sense of rule or law also. Whenever we say sabbe sankhara nichati jadai payai pasati athnibandite dukhe smago visuddhiya, sabbe sankhara दुखति जदाय पयाय पश्यति अत्रिमंदिते दुखे समगो विसुद्धिया सब्बे धम्मा अनत्ताति जदाय पयाय पश्यति अत्रिमंदिते दुखे समगो विसुद्धिया. So here Dhamma is in the sense of composite and non-composite things. Sankhata and asankhata. In Sanskrit it is called as Sanskrit as well as asanskrit. Sankhat Dhammas are those Dhammas which are dependent on some cause and conditions, hetu and the pacha. Asankhat Dhamma or asanskrit Dhamma or uncomposite Dhammas states are those Dhammas which are not dependent on some cause and conditions. So these are the Dhamma, and again Dhamma, when it is suffixed with the term prefix abhi, it is in the sense of excellent and profound teachings of the Buddha. Abhi Dhamma. Dhamma tirek dhamma visesa thena abhidhammo. So there are so many meanings of the Dhamma which have been discussed or which have been interpreted by the Buddha in different contexts, in different meanings also. So today we are going to discuss that what are the 6 main attributes of the Dhamma and why Dhamma of the Buddha became more popular and how it is more related with our Buddhist culture also. So if you go through the text, then you will find just like in Buddhanushatmi, that itipiso bhagavara samma sambuddho vichacharan sampanno sugato lok buddhi purusa dhamma sarati itipiso bhagava. In the same way, here also we are having that how Dhamma has been defined in the text and how it has been commented by Acharya Buddha Ghosh in the commentaries also. So Dhamma has been defined by the commentator as Svakkhato, Bhagavata Dhammo Samditthiko, Akaliko, Ehipassiko, Opaneyiko, Paccattam, veditabbo, vinnunhi. So like these are the 6 main terms through which our the characteristics feature of Dhamma has been defined. And we are going to discuss only these 6 attributes. What are the 6 attributes which have been defined by the Buddha in different context also. So Dhamma has great some you can say significance in the teachings of the Buddha, and the first is called as Svakkhato. There is a first term. If you go through the reading material, then you will find that Svakkhato. Swa means that is the self. Akkhato means made expositions. The Dhamma has been made self expositions in a clear manner. So Svakkhato is the first attribute of the Dhamma, and which has been that clear exposition without secrecy to be realized through direct experience. So the teachings of the Buddha is a, you can say, not in a hidden, you can say, agenda of the Buddha, but it is more clear, transparent. Anyone can come and anyone can realize a state of eternal bliss. Just like Buddha says that they say me dukkham cha dukh nirodham cha, that I preach only 2 things, that there is the suffering and there is the cessation of suffering. So in that way, he teaches the teachings of the Buddha that how a person can get a state of eternal bliss, and it has been well, you can say, it has been made full exposition in understanding the teachings of the Buddha. If you go through the meaning of the term sutta, which has been commented by Acharya Buddha Ghosh in the commentary Sumangal Bilasani, the commentary of Digh Nikaya, that it has been said that Atthanam Suchinato Suvatato Savanato Sudanato Suttana Sut Sabhagato Suttam Suttam Pi Akhatam. That the teachings of the Buddha, which gives informations related with the meanings of the teachings of the Buddha. Atthanam Suchunato, Suvatato, it has been well spoken by the Buddha. So here it is so akhato that it has been made clear exposition in understanding the teachings of the Buddha. So in that way, it has been made clear. And the first attribute is Svakkhato. Again, in the commentary, in the Visuddhimagga, magnum opus of Acharya Buddha Ghosa, he has given the term Svakkhato in three senses, that Adi Kalyanam, Majhi Kalyanam, Pariyosan Kalyanam. Since the teachings of the Buddha are in the sense of Adi Kalyan, Majhi Kalyan, and Pariyosan Kalyan. What is the meaning of Adi Kalyanam, Pariyosan Kalyanam, Majhe Kalyanam, and Pariyosan Kalyanam? I will make it more clear to you. So here, Svakkhato is in the sense of Paryatti, that is the teachings of the Buddha. Whatever the teachings of the Buddha, he after having got enlightenment at Bodh Gaya, and he made a charika for 45 years, from gram, village to city, city to Janpad, Janpad to state, Mahajanpad. So this is the how he had made the exposition of all teachings of the Buddha. So this is called as Paryati, that is the teachings of the Buddha, what he had preached for 45 years. This is called as Paryati. And Adi Kalyanam, that it gives welfare in the beginning. The teachings of the Buddha, which are giving welfare, Adi Kalyanam, in the beginning of the teachings of the Buddha, and it gives welfare in the middle also. We'll discuss one by one. What is the Acharya Buddha Ghosa has given one verse in understanding of Adi Kalyan, Madhya Kalyan, and Pariyosan Kalyan. So here Adi Kalyan, Madhya Kalyan, and Pariyosan Kalyan, all the teachings of the Buddha, that is the teachings of the Buddha or Paryatti, they are giving welfare in the end also. So he has given one verse that if you try to understand the whole Paryatti or the teachings of the Buddha in one verse, in the Dhammapada, you will find that Sabba Papa Sakaranam Kusala Saupa Sampada Sachit Paryodapannam Etam Buddhana Sasanam. So here, all the Adi Kalyan, Madhya Kalyan, Pariyosan Kalyan can be understood in this verse also. Buddha says that Sabba Papas Akaranam, don't do immoral things. Kusalasa Upasampada, do moral things. Sachit Paryodapannam, purify your consciousness. Etam Buddhana Sasanam. This is the order of the teachings of the Buddha. This is Muin called as Paryatti. Now, what is the, you can say, Adi Kalyanam, the first line, first verse, that Sapa Papas Akaranam, don't do immoral things. That Panati Pata Berbani, Adinna Dana Berbani, Kamesu Miksha Chara Berbani, Musavada Berbani, Pisuna Vacha Berbani, Samfalapa Berbani, refraining from three types of sorry, not refraining, that is the, you can say, akusala, that killing a living being, stealing a thing which has not been given to you, and then indulging in sexual misdeeds, telling a lie, musavada, harsh speech, very harsh speech, and ignoble speech. These are called as akusala. So Buddha says that refrain from immoral deeds. Don't do immoral things. This is called as Adi Kalyanam. Adi Kalyana means that if you refrain from immoral deeds, it will give you welfare in the beginning. Again, Kusalasa Upasampadas, that do moral things. Do moral things means refrain from killing a living being. That is the Panati Pata Birmani, Adinna Dana Birmani, Kamesu Miksha Chara Birmani, Musavada Birmani, Pisuna Vacha Birmani, Samfalapa Birmani. Pisuna Vacha Birmani, Samfalapa Birmani. So all 7 types of immoral actions refraining from that, this is called as do moral things. And this is called as Madhya Kalyanam, that refraining from these 7 types of actions, they are called as Madhya Kalyanam, that it gives welfare in the middle of, you can say, that is why it is called as Madhya Kalyanam. The third is called as Sachita Paryodpannam, that purify your consciousness. Purify your consciousness, that there are practices of Samatha and Vipassana, Rupajhan, Arupajhan, through curtailment of the Panch Nivarnas, a person can get the Panch Jhanangas, 5 factors of concentration, and Arupajhan, and in that way you can purify your consciousness. And Buddha says that purify your consciousness is called as Paryosan Kalyanam, that the teachings of the Buddha are giving welfare in the end also, by giving purifying your consciousness. Sachit Paryodpannam, you are going to get a state of eternal bliss through the path of the wisdom. There are 7 stages of purifications also, which have been discussed in the Rath Vinit Sutta of Majjhim Nikaya in a very detailed manner. So here, Svakkhato means that the teachings of the Buddha, which have been well-made expositions by the Buddha himself, and it gives welfare in the beginning, it gives welfare in the middle, it gives welfare in the end also. Adi Kalyanam, Madhya Kalyanam, and Pariyosana Kalyanam. So in that way, it is called as Svakkhato. Dhamma, that is the teachings of the Buddha, that is the Pariyatti. It gives welfare in the beginning, well, it gives welfare in the middle, it gives welfare in the end also. So this is the first attribute of the Dhamma. Now we are coming to the second attribute, that is called as Samditthiko. Samditthiko, there are 2 terms, Sam plus Ditthiko. So here Sam means properly, Ditti means vision. That is the, you can say, Samma Dassanam. It is another name of visualizing the things in a proper manner. So here Dhamma is in the sense of realization of the teachings of the Buddha by one effort also. One effort means Buddha says that you have to make effort yourself also. Tumme hi kicham atapam tathagato akhatara. Buddha says that I preach only 2 things, that there is a suffering, there is a cessation of suffering, but you have to make an effort. How? Through the 4 types of samma bhyamu, right efforts. You have to make effort. There are 4 types of right efforts. If you go through the Eightfold Path, then you will find that there is a right effort, samma bhyamu, that is the akuslanam, uppannanam, dhammanam, no uppadayvyamu, uppannanam, akuslanam, dhammanam, pahanayvyamu. And third is uppannanam, kuslanam, dhammanam, uppadayvyamu. And the fourth is kuslanam, dhammanam, vipullai, buddhiya vyamu. So the immoral dhammas which have already arisen, they must be not arisen. And those immoral dhammas which have been arisen, they must be uprooted or removed. And third one, that the moral dhammas which have not arisen, they must be arisen. And fourth is that the moral dhammas which have already arisen, they must stay, they must be developed in a manifold manner, Bapulai, Buddhiyai, Bhavanai, Vyamo. So it may be developed in that way. So self-realization through one effort. Buddha says that tummehi kicham atapam. You have to make an effort. Tathagato akhataro tathagata. Buddha gives only guidelines. Buddha says that these are the guidelines through which one can get a state of eternal bliss. One can get a realization of the nature of the Dhamma or nature of the, you can say, reality, that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. So in that way, it is called as, you can say, self-realization or Samditthiko. Again, in the text, in the text Visuddhimagga, Acharya Buddha Ghosh, regarding the Samditthiko, he says that Ariyamaggo tav attano sattane rag adinam abhavam Koronto Arya Puggalena Samam Dattanto Ti Samditthiko. That Samditthiko is in the sense of that a Yogavachar or a Arya Puggala who is on the path of the noble path, that is the Arya Magga, eightfold path, Arya Thangiko Maggo, and through his own, you can say, continuity of making an effort, he can remove the rag, dosa, moha, and he can get in a state of eternal bliss. In that way, seeing the things in a proper manner, in an equal manner, it is called as Samditthiko. Acharya Buddha Ghosh says that rag adinam abhavam karanto, that where there is no any nature of the rag, dosa, moha, this is called as Samditthiko. Again, the next is called as Akaliko. Akaliko means timeless. No kaliko tik akaliko, where there is no any time, that is called as akal. What is kal? Kal means the time, you can say. What is the time? Kalo, kaloti, chand surya gati arabha, that where there is the movement of the moon and the sun, that is called as Kal. Kal is of three types: Atit Kal, Vartaman Kal, and Anagat Kal. Present tense, past tense, and the future tense. We all are aware of that. So Buddha says that my teachings of the Buddha, that is the Pariyatti, or you can say the whole teachings, the preachings which have been made for 45 years, it does not destroy. It remains in the continuation. That is why it is called as a Dhamma Chakra. And in that sense, it is called as timeless. It is immortal. It is in the continuation of all things, and it gives the results also immediate. Whosoever does the moral actions, he gets the resultant of the moral actions. If a person does immoral actions, he gets the resultant of the immoral actions. So whatever the teachings of the Buddha, they are giving the immediate result, whether it is in the sense of moral actions, immoral actions, and other things. And again, in the text, Visuddhimagga Acharya Buddha Ghosh says that no kaliko ti akaliko, akalo evati akaliko, where there is no any time. In that sense, it is called as akaliko. So Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha are akaliko. It is not destroyed. It is in the sense of continuation of everything. So this is the third attribute, Akaliko. Now we are coming to the next attribute of the Dhamma, that is the Ehipassiko. Ehipassiko is made up of two words, Ehi and Passiko. Passiko means a person who sees, visualizes the things. Ehi matlab come and see, visualize the nature of the Dhamma. So this is the, you can say, Ehipassiko. In that sense, it is called as Ehipassiko. So Acharya Buddha goes in the Visuddhi Magga, he says that Ehipas imam dhammam. Come here, Ehi come here and see the things, the nature of the Dhamma, that it is anicca, dukkha, and anatta, impermanence, suffering, and soulless. So Buddha says that the teachings are more open to investigation and verifications. There is no place for blind faith also. We are quite aware that Buddha does not believe in the Almighty God. Buddhism does not say that there is a concept of creator. Buddha says that everything is dependent on some cause and conditions. And Buddha does not say that there is an Almighty God who protects the beings. Buddha says that you are the Lord of yourself. Attahi attanu natho kohi natho parosya. No one is protector of yourself. You are the protector of yourself. That is why Buddha says that atta deepu biharata, that be a light of yourself. You are the Lord of yourself. Attahi attanu natho. Kohi natho parosya. No one is Lord of yourself. So in that sense, Buddha says that whatever things comes into existence, they are dependent on cause and conditions, hetu and the pacha, and we are knowing that all the law of dependent originations, there are 12 links, nidanas, dwadas nidanas. So Buddha says that whatever my teachings related with the Pariyatti, they are having the reasoning and the logic also. And all the teachings of the Buddha are called as a scientific investigation. Anyone can come and investigate. That is why it is called as Vinishchay. One can make an investigation of the teachings of the Buddha and can realize the state of eternal bliss, and there is no any blind faith also. Buddha does not say that you come to my sarana or my refuge also. Buddha says that Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. Here saran is not in the sense of surrendering to Almighty God or Buddha Dhamma Sangha, but here it is in the sense of that how the attributes of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, what we are discussing, one can make a refuge to the attributes, that how the gun or the qualities of the Buddha or qualities or attributes of the gunas can be achieved by practice, by a yogavachar or by a persons. So in that sense, Buddha says the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha are in the sense of Ehipassiko. Come, visualize the things with the reasoning and the logic and the aptitude, and then adopt it or take it for granted. There is no any blind faith. So next we are going to discuss that is the Opaneyiko. Opaneyiko means that is it is in the sense of Upanayana. There are in Sanskrit words, two words, Upnayana. It has become Sandhi, Opanikayo, Up, that which goes near, why Nayana, that which are taking the things in the sense of practicing the path, Bhavito Ti Maggo, that one who practices or develops the path, or the path is known as Eightfold Path. And in that sense, the teachings of the Buddha are practical in nature, and they can be practiced by any yogavachar or any person who has a refuge, who has taken a refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So, in that sense, it is called as Opaneyiko. Opaneyiko means that it is in the sense of that how a person can be practiced by the samatha, vipassana, or rupajhan or arupajhan, and how a person can get a state of eternal bliss. Now we are going to the last attribute of the Buddha, Dhamma, that is called as a Paccattam, veditabbo, vinnunhi. There are three words here. If you see your reading material, Paccattam means individual, by himself, by a person himself, and veditabbo, veditabbo may be known, may be attained by by an individual or by oneself. How can we attend? By a person who has the right understanding, that is the panya, or right wisdom, you can say. So those persons who are having the right understanding, they can attain a state of eternal bliss by himself, by individual a persons. So that is why Buddha, the Dhamma, the last attribute of the Dhamma is that how a person comes, he adhigato, how he has, you can say, attained the teachings of the Buddha in himself by practicing, and how he has known or attained through his right understanding, or the panya. In Sanskrit it is called as pragya. So there are two experiences of the Dhamma. They are the personal or direct experience in realizing the truth, that is the Four Noble Truth, Dukkham Arya Satcham, Dukh Samudaya Arya Satcham, Dukh Nirodham Arya Satcham, Dukh Nirodha Gamani Patipadarya Satcham. So in that way it is called as Paccattam veditabbo vinnunhi, that one who has adhigatam phalam, one who has realized the fruits of the Sotapati phala, Sagadagami phala, Anagami phala, Arhat phala, and a state of eternal bliss, that is the Nibbana. So Sachikatho, one who has realized the nature of the reality, that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, all dhammas are subject to soulless. In that sense, nirodho, that one who has cessed the all kinds of the desires, that is the kamatana, bhautana, and vibhautana, and where there is no any Krishna, that tanhai ases virago patinisgo mutti analayo, where there is no any house of the desires, where there is no any, you can say, attachment, where there is no any kamatanha, bhautana, and vibhautana. So in that manner, a person who has realized, and this is the last attribute of the Dhamma, and through the Dhamma, a person can realize oneself by an individual persons through the right understanding, through the Panya, and that is why it is called in Jata Sutta of Sanjukta Nikaya, that Sile Patithaya Narosa Panyo Chittam Payam Cha Bhavayam Atapi Nipko Bhikkhu So Imam Vijete Jatamti, that a person who is established in the path of morality, he may develop concentration and the right understanding, and an ardent sage, he may distangle this tangle. So this is the, you can say, crux of the teachings of the Buddha and related with the pariyatti, and how the 6 attributes can help us in understanding the, you can say, the nature of the Dhamma. What are the nature, what are the benefits of the Dhamma? So these are the 6 attributes. So in a very brief manner, I have discussed the 6 attributes of the Dhamma. So in the next class, we will discuss in a very detailed manner other aspects of the that is the main, who were the foremost disciples of the Buddha, and who were the close disciples of the Buddha. So we'll discuss in a next class. So if you have any question related with these 6 attributes of the Dhamma, that is the, you can say, pariyatti, you can ask and discuss the things. Sayuri, if you have any question.
Bhante, should we read some Visuddhimagga's commentary?
Yes, you can go through that in a very detailed manner. I have discussed here in a very brief manner, because we are discussing the first topic of your syllabus, that is the origin and development of the Buddhism as well as Buddhist culture. So Buddhist culture, we are discussing about the personal, we have already discussed the origin of the Buddha, life of the Buddha, we have discussed in our previous classes. We have discussed the origin of the Sangha, how the teachings of the Buddha were spread. And then in the last 2 classes, we are discussing about the, what are the personality of a Buddha, how Buddha became more popular, and what are the main qualities of the Buddha. So there are 9 attributes or 9 qualities of the Buddha through which he became more popular as a person, and how the Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha, which he preached for 45 years, how through the teachings of the Buddha, he became more popular among the South Asian countries and other things. What are the main qualities of the Dhamma? So we have discussed today main 6 attributes or the qualities of the Dhamma. And these have been discussed in a very detailed manner in the commentaries also, in the Visuddhimagga also. When Acharya Buddha Ghosh discusses about the 40 subjects of meditations, out of the 40 subjects of meditations, he discusses 10 Asubha, 10 Anusati, 10 10 Asubha, 10 Kasin, 10 then 4 Brahma Viharas. And then what are the, after the Buddha qualities, he discusses a Dhammanusati, Buddhanusati, Dhammanusati, Sanghanusati. So when he is discussing about the Dhammanusati, then he is also discussing the 6 attributes of the Dhamma. What are the 6 qualities of the Dhamma? Then on the basis of that explanation given by Acharya Buddha Ghosh, we have discussed the main qualities or attributes of the Dhamma in a very brief manner, so that it may help you understanding the Buddhist culture. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Any Rahul, do you have any question?
I have no question.
So if you have any question, you can note down. In the next class also, we can discuss the same things. So that if you have any question, you go through the reading material. In the reading material, we have given just you in a very brief manner guidelines. So on the basis of that, we are discussing today also. So Kiko, if you have any question.
Sir, Anupama has some question.
Yes, Anupama.
Sir, you have told that these are the 6 attributes of Dhamma in terms of pariyatti. Then what is means of pariyatti?
Pariyatti means teachings of the Buddha.
Teachings.
There are pariyatti is the Pali term.
Okay.
And the English term is the teachings of the Buddha.
Okay.
That Buddhism has 2 aspects. One is pariyatti, the teachings of the Buddha. Second aspect is patipatti. Patipatti means practice. Practice means that how through the jhana, the factors of the concentration, or the kamathan, or samatha, or vipassana, how a person can get a state of eternal bliss. How can a person purify his consciousness? Patipatti is called as practice, development of, you can say, consciousness, how you can purify your consciousness. So that is called as patipatti. And the last term is called as pativedana. Pativedana means by penetrating into the nature of the reality, one can get a state of eternal bliss through the panya. There are 7 stages of purifications. That is called as Sat Visuddhi, Sil Visuddhi, Chit Visuddhi, Kankha Vitarana Visuddhi, then Ditti Visuddhi, Mag Amag Visuddhi, Yan Dasan Visuddhi, Yan Visuddhi. So these are the 7 stages of purifications through which a Yogavachar or a recluse can purify his consciousness. So here Pariyatti is another name of the teachings of the Buddha. What he preached for 45 years after getting enlightenment at Bodh Gaya till Mahaparinibbana, from village to village, city to city, Janpad to Janpad, Mahajanpad to Mahajanpad, like that. Okay. Anyone?
Thank you very much.
Anyone has a more question? Kiko or Hiroko?
Yes, Professor, very fundamental questions. Raga and Lobha, it's how different or same?
Naga?
Raga and Lobha.
Achha, yes. Lobha.
Yeah.
Lobha and Rag. There
Yes.
are 2 terms. Lobha.
Yeah.
Lobha is greed. Greed
Greedy.
means that it has been defined in Pali that par sampatti mama bhavaya, let the belongings or the wealth be mine. Whenever there is a desire to have the belongings of others, it is called as lobha. Whenever there is a arising of lobha in the consciousness, lobha sahagata chitta, then we take the things of others. And whenever rag means that is the kama rag, bhav rag, vibhav rag, ditti rag. There are so many attachment. Attachment means attachment related with the sensual pleasure. Sensual pleasure means that desire for pleasure which is being expressed by our 5 senses. So here there is a loud sound, there is no electricity. So let us finish here. In the next class, we will discuss the remaining portions. Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay, take care. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.